Oh, hello. Do they all come signing in? You guys, does everybody sign in right away usually? How's it work? Yeah, everybody's waiting, just excited. Cool, cool. Oh, huh. Wana yopte. Oh, I just got back from Sisseton, so I'm just collecting myself here, just driving. But yeah, I remembered when I first got back here to Sioux Valley. Almost everybody when I got here, they're always saying "Yanuni." They always ask me, "Are you lost?" Seems like I'm lost. Even when I go down to South Dakota, that's what they say, "Yanuni." So it seems like it must be like I have no home or something. I'm always wandering around lost. I must look lost. And so that's kind of like a word that you would hear a lot of times. Sometimes it would tease people in a sense, you know. So I just looked at, I didn't know what word we were going to start with. And that's the first word that I saw there. And so, noonie. Well, noonie, to be lost. And, you know, sometimes I guess this is how a lot of our, if you, we can look in it in a deeper way, a lot of us sometimes, without our language, without our culture, you know, we're kind of noonie. We're kind of lost, noonie. Wanuni. I remember Unkan saying, Chistieda Wanuni. I was lost for just a little while. Chistieda. Just Chistieda Wanuni. I remember hearing that one. See, a lot of these words I remember hearing growing up, but I never really grasped what it was. But I heard it, and it wasn't until later on I started studying those words, and then I find out what they mean. Usually, what I do actually is I'll carry this, and then I'll hang out with guys like Unka Ozzy and you know, just different relatives. And while they're talking, I'll just sit there on the side, and once I hear a new word, I'll go check it out and listen like that, or listen to some of those older recordings from our grandpas from long ago, and you hear a word on there and say that word over and over and over. Yeah. So this is the word to be lost. And we talked about this word right here, wa, meaning my actions, my behavior, what I'm doing, wa. And then for you, yeah, your behavior, your actions, what you're doing. And so that's gonna pertain to this particular wichoye. That's what we call these when you say a word, wichoye, wichoye, wichoye. So yeah, wanuni. I guess you can say I was roaming around lost in America. Isantankata. In America, wanuni. I'm, I am lost. Here's that pertaining to yourself right here, your own self. Wanuni, wanuni, wa nu ni, wa nu ni, wanuni, wanuni, wanuni. I am lost. Wanuni. So naturally, we kind of all getting the how it works now. Yanuni, yanuni. Like I said before, when you're seeing these words like this in this particular situation, you're looking at somebody. You can tell obviously they're lost, roaming around Brandon, and then you could say yanuni, you're lost, and you could turn it into a question. Yanuni, huh? Are you or you can turn it into that. Yanuni, huh? Are you lost? And then the who, you can do it like that, right? Not in this situation. Can you explain that again for those of us that are trying to understand the who and he? When do you use who? Because it's a female that says it, but when do you use that in which scenario? You'll think about it. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Mhm. Certain words. So, mm-hmm. Maybe one of these days we can sit around and write those certain circumstances, and we can try to find the pattern on why. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool, by the way. You know, some of the elders and we get this chance to sit around, and sometimes we just tell stories. I just hear stories, and we talk about the old laws. We talked about Iwakchi. We talked about healing words, all kinds of different stuff at that meeting. Talked about the continuation of our language, the spirituality behind the language, all kinds of stuff. Yanuni, you are lost. Yanuni, are you lost? Yanuni, 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 Yanuni. You can hear that song in there. Yanuni. We always try to remember to not go, Wanuni, you know. Yanuni. Yeah, have a little all right? Yanuni. Yanuni. Yeah. Try not to go monotone. If you can see the note, ya, nu, ni, kind of goes here a little higher and then a little lower like that. For those of you visual, want to see how the note goes, ya, nu, ni, a little bit lower, ya, nu, ni, ya, nu, ni, ya, nu, ni. So there's a song in there in the language, just to keep that in mind. Ya, nu, ni, ya, nu, ni. Ya, nu, ni. And just one, so I'm saying you're lost, and so we'll add a couple more. So now you'll see two people, or three, or four, or 1,000. Yanunipi. You and everyone else are all lost. Yanunipi. 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 Just a little reminder here. You'll notice we're not saying Yanunipi. Yanunipi. Kind of a PB there, hey? So you can remind yourself, put a little B right there on the bottom, just to kind of remind yourself that it's a B sound, not a P. B. Yanunipi. Just a hint of a B in that B. 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 If you're really shy in here, those of you guys, if you close one ear, you can hear yourself a little better, and you can still talk quiet. Yanunipi. 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 Yeah. Yanunipi. So that's, you and everyone are lost. You and everyone are lost. Yanunipi. 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 I missed this. I missed coming here. I missed this after a while. I didn't realize I missed this, but now that I'm here, I really miss being here. Yanunipi. Here's that sound. For that's the us or we. That's the best way to do that word is yeah. Ununipi. Ununi, I could say. Just for two of us, you and I. Sorry, brain fart. Ununi. 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 So two different sounds right here. And nu. So just remember here, I always like to draw a little nose on your N on that one, just to remind yourself to make your nose hum or vibrate. How would you say, not to shake, but to vibrate? It's kind of chanchanda or something like that, right? Yeah, something that's not shaking, but I remember when I used another word for shaking when you're shaking something. That's a cool one. If you guys want to write that word down, we can go into it later. But I remember you had the ketchup bottle. It's really, he's trying to teach me, right? So, ununi. Sorry, stay on topic. Ununi. 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 Actually, I think some of the best teachers have ADHD because they can go into a little story, then come right back to it again. Yeah, that's me. Just dive off topic and then come back to it. I get Wanuni once in a while, lost. Wanuni, yeah. Ununi. So that's you. So in this scenario, you'll remember that's one person, and now I'm telling you, that's the only time you're ever going to really say this. You and I are lost. Two people sitting in a car driving. That's the time you're going to say that, and you don't know where you are. Ununi. But if there was a person in the back seat, then it's going to change. That's a good way to see a scenario. And so this is two people in the car. Yeah, in the front seat. Now this extra guy in the back seat, let's got to add him or her, so we ununipi. So just two of you sitting in a car, we're lost. Now there's three of you, or if you're like us in the old days, 8 of you in the car heading to Brandon somehow. Some lying on the floor, one in the trunk. You can just yell, "Oh no, Nepiro!" Josh, you hear him in the trunk. Unu ni pi. Unu ni pi. Unu ni pi. Unu ni pi. Hunting season is upon us here pretty good, so we'll do one on a hunting word here a little bit. Unu ni pi. So all the way up here, you could just see guys in orange. I thought they're honoring the restoration, all that stuff. No way, those are all hunters. All the way here. Ununipi. Ununipi. So 3 of us here, or 4 or 5 or 100, we're all lost. Ununipi. Ununipi. So this one, all right. Nunipi. So in this situation here, you're telling one person about 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 people that are lost. Nunipi. Nunipi. So they are lost. So a group of them over there, 2 or 3 or 4 or so are lost over there. Nunipi. 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 Right. Some might say that. You might hear a guy just finding his road, finding his path, trying to heal himself, sitting in this sweat lodge. Maybe he lost himself for a while there. Wanuni, I was lost, I was lost. All right. There's our first word, nuni, nuni. Ya nuni. You could even ask, so sometimes if you're driving around, I was saying, when would you ask a question? Wanuni, hey, am I lost? I guess if you're driving around and you're looking around and all of a sudden you don't know where I am, it's like, am I lost? That's the only time you'd ask yourself that. That's a question you'd be asking yourself. Wanuni, am I lost? Yeah. Not too often you'd hear that, but you can put it there. Right. So I had an idea, by the way, with some of the ones that we're doing here. Maybe in one of the classrooms where we zoom through them really fast, the ones that we've done. No English translation, we'll just say them. That way people can practice saying them and with not me talking, one class where we'll do a review and we'll just pull them up real quick and say them real fast, go to the next one. Because I was thinking about that on the road. I would like to have one where it's just all of them, what we've done, and just say them over and over and over. You like that? While I was driving on the road. So one of these classes will do that. Kind of like a review of all the ones we've done. But no pauses or no English translations, just saying them. Yeah. So anyway, that was one of the ideas. I always got a bunch of ideas to make it easier for all of us. You know, I always thought this word really made sense. It's probably one of the simpler words you're ever going to learn. Oh. Oh. Yeah. Oh. It's to shoot or hit, shoot. You'll notice a lot of hunter shooting words. Wa-oh is a wound, for example. Wa-oh is a wound. So you'll notice that, a similarity. And I always thought it makes sense to me because a bullet hole makes an O. Really makes sense if you put it like that. Certain words you can use English style of context to kind of give yourself a little clue on how to remember certain words. Oh. So same thing. I'm doing it. You're doing it. We are doing it. But that's actually, yeah. Oh, yeah. It'll be a little bit different here on this one. Yeah. You will see this. I'll talk about it later. Okay. So I shoot. Wow. But we'll put one of these here because we don't want to say wow. Wow. A little bit of wow. Wow. Not wow, but wow. So that'll help you with this. Hey, I keep forgetting what these are called again. Washichu. Apostrophe. Thank you. And that nuskanu. Mark. How did we say mark again for gash? It was like markings. We were talking about that word. Oapi, was it? Oapi? Yeah. So I shoot or I hit wa'o. Wa'o. I shoot. If two guys are standing in there with a gun, you can say wa'okte, I shall shoot. Wa'okte. Wa'okte, I shall shoot. Wa'o. Wa'o. You could say that at the hockey game if you're shooting. Yeah, that's what I just said. So if you're going to shoot, wa'okte. He's standing there waiting. Wa'okte, wa'okte. How would anybody know what he's saying out there? Yeah, yeah. Wow, I shoot. Could be I shot too. Hey, I shot. Wow, I shot. Oh, wakute. Oh yeah, we'll talk about that, dude. I hit. Yeah, shot. Here's our ya. Oh, you shoot. Ooh, make a bigger O. Ya oh, you shoot. Ya oh. I won't say this one too hard. You don't need that much practice, but ya oh. Make that little apostrophe. I can remember Dakota words, but Washichi words. How do you say it again? 1,000 times. Apostrophe. Okay, apostrophe. Wa-o, ya-o. And so just naturally how we've done it before, the same thing. We're going to add your shooting. And then we'll add just a few more people there. Ya-opi. So that's one person here, plus two or however more. Yaopi. There's that PB again. Yaopi. 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 Sometimes we'll have these circumstances where it's not exactly Sometimes you'd hear unki tawa, for example. But in this circumstance here, unk, o, unko, unk, o. Gotta have that pause there. Unk, o. If this, to just remind you, you could break it off there, just to give you a reminder, just to take a little break. Unk, o, unk, o, unk, o. The temptation is going to want to turn it into one word, unko. That's the temptation. You're going to want to do that. If you could make a note on the temptation, a little note on a little paragraph on the rest here, to remind yourself to take a break. Unk, o. Unk, o. Same thing. So this is, you and I are shooting. So imagine, I'm telling you, you and I are doing this. Unk, o, unk, o, unk, o. It's always good, like I say in last classes, I'll bring this up. I'm going to bring this up all the way through your imagination. You have to use your imagination to put yourself in these situations, these scenarios, where you're sitting there with somebody and you're shooting, two people shooting a stick, a puck or a gun. Unk, oh, you and I are shooting. Unk, oh. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You hit it. You shot, hit it. Yeah, shot, hit. So this is almost more like a past tense, right? And the wakute is the actual shooting part, but the shooting to hit it, that's the wa'o. Yeah. So in the scenario then, you could wakute, I'm going to shoot, and then once it's shot, wa'o. Yeah, oh, you shot. You hit it. Yeah. It's the actual process of the firing off of the gun, like the actual process of shooting. When it hits its target, that's when it makes it. But it basically, to understand, it makes a little hole, right? So that's, wow, it makes a, yeah, yeah. You made a connection with it, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll do kute after that one, just to clarify that. You know, we'll do that one coming up. Yeah. And then so, oh yeah, I'll just do this one. It's fresh on my mind. Opie. Real simple. So you're just in this situation. Those people over there, they just made a shot. Opie. Real simple word. I don't need to say it over and over. Opie. 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 Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Yeah. So let's put a sentence with this one. Made a hole by 2 or 3 or 4 people, right? Or made a shot by 6 or 7. So you picture a person over there or something over there with a bunch of holes or shots in them from these guys over there to that guy. Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. They shoot. Yeah. They shot. They shoot. Opie. I forgot one. This one here, we just have to add the you and I. Unko. We're you and I are doing it plus 2 or 3 or 4 or 6 or 7. Unkopi. 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 I never say this word because I don't shoot anything. I haven't shot a hockey stick in quite a while. Actually, yesterday I shot one. First time in a long time. This one takes a little bit of practice. One of the things that I had, what time are we on right now? In the YouTube timeline. If you want, I could just do this. 29 minutes and 20 seconds or so. That's where we talked about this part right here, right? If you want to come back to that. If you guys want to make notes, because some of it, we're going to be referencing the videos on here later on, right? Could do it like that. So if you need extra practice, I could write the time where we're at, and you can go to that time, and then you could say, oh yeah, that unko part is right there on that part. Maybe even those of you that are at home that could see the YouTube video, check the timeline where you are at the video, and then just put your time there where we talked about this word, and then in your notes, then you'll be able to go and scroll to on the YouTube video and go where you want to go. That'll be a good way. All right. Wa'o. Ya'o. Ya'opi. Ya'opi. Unk-o. Unk-opi. Opi. All right. What's the other one we said we were going to do? Kute. Yeah. I have that one highlighted here somewhere. I'll have to come back to it. I'll have to find it. Well, during the next break, I'll come back to that one. You know, since we've been here talking, I hear a lot in the elders when they're talking. They said they make stories of like the references in the old days. Is you can't just tell these words; we have to show them too. Or you can't just tell somebody something; you have to show them, and you have to demonstrate. And that's the best way as a parent. When we're parenting our children, we gotta show them the way instead of just talking about it. And so we don't just say, be honest, and then not be honest ourselves. We got to show them how to be honest, right? So it's real important to live that way of, where your words match, your words match your actions. I think it's important that we're true to what we teach. And so I remember this one was a real cool word for me to learn, kipazo, back in the day. This is a keiji right here. It's you notice we're not going to say kipazu, kipazo. Sorry, kipazo. It'll be a ki. And if those of you have a hard time with that sound, it's more made at the back of the mouth. Ki. Not so much key or like a hard key, like a key, but a ki. Kipazo. And here, this one here, we're not saying pazo, it's pazo. Kipazo. 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 I really like this word. It's one of my favorite words when I was learning. There's certain words I just love how they sound, and this was one of my favorites. Kipazo. To show something. I guess you can say demonstrate as well. To exhibit. To show how to do something or along those lines. Kipazo. Kipazo. You can do like that. Wakipazo. Doesn't that sound cho, that word? Wakipazo. Wakipazo. I show. Wakipazo. That's the best way to teach your people how to live, is to show them how to live. Wakipazo. 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 Zo. See, I think this is why I always think J should be used for the word Jean or J, because sometimes people will get this one mixed up and they might say wakipajo sometimes in certain circumstances. That's why I always think a J should be used for there for that sound. But that could be another topic for another topic for another time. Wakipazo. I show. Wakipazo. Wakipazo. A good word here to use right here, just a simple one, is this word. It just means it's gonna happen, right? Kte. Wakipazo kte. I'll show you. I shall show you. I show you shall. I show you shall. Wakipazo kte. Wakipazo kte. Wakipazo kte. Wakipazo. 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 Yakipazo. Yakipazo. You show. So there's the wa, ya. I'm not supposed to point. I feel just off doing that. Wa, ya. Ya. Yakipazo. You're going to show them. Yakipazo. 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 I like to walk around. I don't know if some of you guys at home must walk around. I would walk around if I was you. For myself, I can't sit like that. So I was talking about these trips I'm taking. Man, sitting. I like to move around. Yakipazo. Yakipazo. So we're just telling one person, you're showing. Now we just add the P down here. I'm just going to do that if you want to add more people, right? Yakipazopi. 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 There's that PB on there. B. Yakipazopi. 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 It's just interesting how it turns to za right at the end. Unkoza. It changes like that. Isto.
What's that word mean?
To show. Kapi ka kipazo. Unki.
We show.
Unko. Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be, right? Yeah. Unkipazo. Unkipazo. Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 Sorry, my mind is a little off today. Unkipazo. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's how I was gonna. We'll do the baseball one soon too, coming up. Unkipazo. So in this situation here, you and I, that's where I was talking about, where the sometimes that sometimes it's an unki, sometimes unkipazo, 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 unkipazo. So just picture you and I, or you're talking to one person and you're telling them we're showing them something. Taku unkipazo. Taku ashte unkipazo. We're showing them something good. Yeah, you can describe here, I guess, what you're describing or what you're showing on this later on. What are you showing? Unkipazo. Unkipazo. Same situation here. So I'm telling Randall, we're showing, but now I'm going to say Unka Ozzy is showing too. So now we're going to do one more. Add the one person, one more person, or 30 people, or 1,000 people. Unki pazopi. Unki pazopi. Unki pazopi. Unkas used to say that too. I'll tell you this a couple times, but after that, you just have to watch and learn. Mm-hmm. Which who? Okay. So how would this one here? This unki pazopi. Did you ever hear that one? Okay. Okay. All right. We're gonna have to come back to this one here too. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So we are being shown on this one here, hey? Okay. I'm just gonna write. I don't write English much on here, but I just want to put a little note. Kind of. This is a tricky one. This is why I always say our elders are so important right now. So I'm gonna. So let's figure this out. How did you write that? We chu. So if I'm telling Randall that him and I are showing you guys something. Yeah. Okay. Let's do that. Is it we chu? Okay. We chu ki pazo. So you and I are showing all, and then this one unki pazo be you and I are being shown by them, telling us this. Yeah. Let's make a note on this word right here, and yeah, this is one of those important words that have some trickery behind it. And we'll look up this word we chun because I know it's going to come up more. and when to use that, right? Because I know it's Dakota is like that. There's certain exceptions to certain rules that change certain times. And I think the more we're moving along, the more we'll figure out, "Te toka cha," like, why is that like that? We're uh, studying the language in a deeper way with these. Because I know for most people, most of you language speakers at home, it's instinctual. You just know to do it. But the rules behind how that changes and why that changes, it's not always clear. But we'll get there. We'll get there. This one? We chunki pazo. We chunki pazo. So that'll be you and I. And then we're showing everyone here. So so here's my next question then. Is there another version with we chunki pazo pi? Yeah. And so if we didn't have a P at the end, does it do anything? Is there a scenario where you can have it like that? We chunki pazo. Or is there always going to be a... Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh, yeah. These are one of the words I think we'll go into it more deeper. Because I know some of the words I can't remember which one there was, but you could take that word deeper in other ways. I can't remember which one word that we're talking about, but yeah. We chunk. Yeah. All of us here, we chunk. Yeah. We chunki pazopi. If all of us are showing this, we're showing that to the 600 people that are watching, the 700 people that are watching. No wonder why nobody wants to come up here and speak. I'm only one. It's pretty nerving coming up here and speaking in front of a lot of people. But that's why we say you get that fear and you do it anyways, hey? Yeah. Okay, yeah. Kipazopi. They are shown. So those people, those of you on Kipazo, you're being shown. They show their. Let's put this in a sentence. Can you give me a good show sentence for Kipazopi? Naka. Earlier. He or she was shown earlier by a whole bunch of people, right? Yeah. 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 Mm-hmm. Naka kipazi. He or she was shown by a whole bunch of people. Yeah. 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 We all shown. Yeah. Kipazopi. 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 Yeah. Yeah. Only one person was shown by two or three, four people. Yeah. Kipazopi. So if you can picture that out there, everybody's we're showing One special person. There's a group of us here showing one person something. Mhm. All right. But I think this word here I'd like to kind of return to in the future. Yeah. Oh yeah. Chi chi. Like I'm gonna show you. Yeah. Yeah. See, those are ones they don't have. We could go into the chi chi puzzle. Yeah. Yeah. All of these too. Yeah. Kte, shall. Could put that word. Chi chi puzzle. I'll show you. I shall show you. Chi chi puzzle kte. Chi chi puzzle kte. Chi chi puzzle kte. Chi chi puzzle kte. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. You're telling one person. So the next one will be chi chi puzzle kte. Or chi chi puzzle. Yeah. Yeah. Chi chi puzzle. So I'm showing you and three or four people Chichi puzzle. So this is remember a long time ago or earlier, one of our first classes there, I was talking. Whenever you hear that word chi, you'll notice there's kind of like an intimacy where you're telling somebody something. It's kind of like a real intimate word. Very connected. Yeah. 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 Show me. Yeah. 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 Maki puzzle. Oh man, we can just keep going on with those. Yeah. Well, let's do because these ones here are more the action. Like I'm doing all these. We'll do the ones with the ma on another one. Yeah, like the wa. I'm doing it. Ya doing it. Chi is I'm doing it to you. Chi 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 pazopi. Uh-huh. Right. It really crams your brain when you get deeper into it. And like I said, I remember talking with Dikshi Ronnie Hall, and I was really asking him some really serious, deep questions about this. And he said, I don't even think about any of that stuff. And it just comes so naturally to growing up with it. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, where was I earlier? Are we good? Do we need a little cigarette break or take a 5 minute break or so? I'll take a little bit more breaks than normal here today just because it's been kind of a long trip today and my mind's a little slow. Gonna get Randall up here talking next. It's gonna happen. Shoppe. Shoppa. All right, we're talking about earlier. I was talking about I don't know why I was saying shoppe or to be dirty, but I know it's just one of the words that we have to when in the search circumstance. If you're talking about somebody being dirty, there's actually a few ways where we could say this. We can get pretty deep in this. I make myself dirty. There's different ways of saying it, but in this circumstance, shoppe to be dirty, shoppa. Shoppe. Shoppa. Shoppe. If you wanted to write the SH like that, that's up to you. Shoppe. Shoppa. Shoppe. Shoppa. Shoppe. Shoppa. Shape. Shoppa. Shoppe. Shoppa. Whenever we do you'll notice it's something that's happening. Shapa, it's happened. Yeah. Those of you that want that, we discussed that on the, I think that was at the second class or third class, we talked about that. Shape, shapa. So I'm going to talk about myself now. I'm not talking about what I'm doing. So it's ma. So my being, me, in other words, me, ma. Ma shape. Ma shape. Ma shape. Or pa. Ma shape. Ma shapa. I guess you would say more along, you wouldn't usually use, I'm mashapa, I'm dirty, I'm already dirty, right? Mashapa would be the word that you would say mostly. Mashape, okay. Mashape would be the most popular way of saying it. But if you got dirty at yesterday, I went to work. Mashapa, I was dirty. Yeah, mashapa, I was dirty. Mashape, I am dirty. Come on in, hanakawo, mashapero. I'm dirty. Yeah, just wait, I'm all dirty. I'm cleaning myself up. Mashape. There's a ni in this situation. So remember, we use wa and ya for more actions. You're doing something. But in this situation, it's just you are, or you, just you. Nishape. 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 You could just put a word, mashapishni. I am not dirty. I'm not dirty. Mashapishni. 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 I'm not dirty. Shni. Let's put shni at the end. You're not dirty. Mashapishni. Mashape. Shni. I'm not dirty. Mashapishni. Mashapashni. Yeah. Mashapishni. Mashapishni. Shni. Shni is the word for not. Ni sha pa pi. Ni sha pa pi. Like I said too, you could spell it with the sh if that helps with. I just do the dot one. Ni sha pa pi. And actually on your phones, for those of us that when you hold S down, a list of different S's come up. And so you could put the S with the dot on top. If you hold it down, yeah, and then that S will come up. And I think the explosive T is on there. If you go to the T, I think there's one of them on there. I think. Your phone is probably an iPhone 10. Yeah. Yeah, just try it. Some of your phones, if you hold that S down, that S with the dot on top will show up there. So, shape. There's the for you and I. Shape. We're dirty. Shape. Oh, here's the nose. You got to draw the little nose on there. Make your nose vibrate. Shape. 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 By the way, those of you guys that made this book, we're really thankful for you guys to be able to, because like a lot of the community members, I know they could have did this, but man, this is a lot of time and effort that you put into this, and so Nina Pidama api for all these good things, these books and such. Shape. Shapa. Do I still need to explain them in details like that, or are we understanding it now? So you and I, plus all of everybody else here, we're dirty. Shapapi. We're working hard, that's why. Hard workers. Shapapi. Shapa. Shapa. All of us, rest. Shapapi. The jokes are on the side over here coming out. Shapapi. Oh, Jesus. I was waiting for the jokes to start coming out of this word. So you and I and everybody else were dirty. And or you and I plus Unka Ozzy, we're dirty. But Shapapi. So I'm telling you that there's a few over people over there. They're just, you could just see they're hardworking. They got oil all over their faces, dirt all over. Shapapi. You'll notice it's close to the word sapa. So when you're dirty, sapa is the word black, right? So when you get dirty, you get dirt all over, black stains all over. That's how I always remembered this word, but just add the sh instead of the sapa. Shapapi. Like I always said, you could even use the word for henna for them here. Henna shapapi. Henna shapapi. They are dirty. Or a few names of people you can put right here. By the way, a word for and, just ka. Just keep that in mind. Ka. Ka. We can talk about those words later on, but you could say Randell ka wakia shapapi. Randell ka wakia shapapi. Randell and Wakia are dirty because they work so hard, or they just played baseball or something along those lines, and they're all muddy or whatever. Shapapi. Real easy word. I'm going to do the easier words today just because I'm a little tired. Shapapi. But some of these words that are easy to do, Randall is going to start teaching them here. He keeps laughing, but that's what's going to happen. So I am dirty. You are dirty. You and all of the rest are dirty. You and I are dirty. You and everybody, us and everybody else are dirty. And they are dirty. Shapapi. Shapapi. Oh, here's that PB, by the way. B. Yeah. And even actually, this is one of those PBs, because you notice we're not saying ni shape, ni shape, ni shape, be, ni shape. So all of these deserve a little mark on there to turn it into just a little bit of a B. Ni shape. All right, moving on. This is one of my favorite words, titokan. Titokan. It's to visit. There's another one I used to hear them say. It wasn't necessarily Mayag Wa'i. I went to see them, but it's not. That's almost like they weren't visiting or something. But kind of in the sense, I always got the same idea that they went to go see them. They must be going to visit, right? So I used to hear them say that Wayag. It's almost like to go see them. But we'll talk about that word a little bit later. But this one here is a really how you heal your community is visit. This here is not a TD at all. These are actually T, to. I think this word T must derive from the home. Hey, the home T, to, kan. And then we're not saying gun either. And so it's not a G here, a KG for that. It's an actual k. And then this word right here has an sound. So just think of Will Smith on that part. T-to-ka. We'll practice this one because it's a mix of T-to-ka. 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 Ka. T. Toe, like your toe. T-to-ka. Just think of your toe on this word, your big toe. T-to-ka. 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 We'll practice this for a little bit. T-to-ka. So you can repeat after me when I say it at home. T-to-ka. 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 Yeah. T will become from the word teepee too. So just think of that later on. That teepee and T. T is to live, hey? T. Yeah. So teepee would be like living by a whole bunch of people living inside there too. There's a word there. Teepee. Teepee. Mm-hmm. Tokan. So this word here has its own word. Tokan. Away. Yeah. Tokan would be a word for somewhere, another home away, somewhere else. So that's the root word. So tokan will be away from, a home away from home. Yeah. Yeah. That's like a home, but away home. A home that's away somewhere, but another home, right? Yeah. So that's the origin of it, right? To visit. But you're going there to a home that's away to go visit. But then the word visit came from it. That's one of the things I really love to do is to break down those words and to derive those deeper meanings from it. It would kind of even mean that it is almost like everybody felt that. It was like a home away from home. You go visit somebody else, that's like your home too, in a sense, right? You're always felt like, I always hear that. This is a Dakota home. Help yourself. I used to hear that. Go dig around in the fridge, go whatever you want. This is a Dakota home. I used to hear that from people. And so it's like you have a home away from home. T-toka. 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 Yeah, if you want to look up that word toga too, you could look up that word. You can look up that word in here if you want on your own. T-toga. All right, we're going to do a little bit of a sentences here. I'll do E. E. Oops, I don't know why I did that. Hitokan E. Went to visit or go to visit or. Titokan. Titokan E. Titokan E. So you could put a name of somebody here. We'll just put, I don't know, a random name that came to my head. Mandy. I don't know who Mandy is, but I'm just making it up. Mandy titoka e. Mandy went to visit. Some of these sentences don't make sense until you put a name there or something. Then you put some context to it. That's what our grandpas always talked about. Put some context to it, and it'll bring more meaning to that word. Because in here, there's no wa, right? There's no ya, there's no me or you, right? So we have to know who, right? So usually that's where the name comes in. Yeah. Ti to ga wa e. Like that. I went. Now I went to visit. Tito kan wa e. Tito kan. Tito eh. Once you say it over and over, it messes you up. Tito kan. It's kan, not gun, right? Yeah, it's not gun, it's kan. Like another word is wa kan. There's another example of it. Actually, that's a good way. Go to another word that you already know, and kan is like we've heard that wa kan. I used to hear kiss you think you're wa kan. Hey. Just because you go to sweat. Kiss you think you're wa kan. Kiss ni wa kan. Oh, cheers. Just kidding. Tito kan wa e. I went to visit. Yeah. Tito kan wa e. And so here's our same pattern. Tito kan ya e. Tito kan ya e. You went to visit. Like I say, this is probably one of the most important things we've lost. I've heard elders say that we've lost the ability to visit, and I think and then a lot of our elders are blaming our phones. We don't know how to visit anymore, and I've seen a lot of places meetings, and it's like half the room is not even paying attention anymore. They're on their phones, and so the phones I think are really going to hurt our people in the future if we're not careful, and. So bringing back visiting and paying attention to each other and is really important. And this is an art form, to visit. You got to learn how to visit. So important I used to see a group of elders at a restaurant that I used to work at, and there was about maybe 6 or 7 of them, and that they said every Sunday they come together and they eat at the restaurant just to visit. And so you realize that's for health, for healthy. It's healthy to visit. Titoka yai. You went to visit. Titoka. Ya, e. Now we'll add more people. You and 10 more people are going to visit. Ti to kan ya ipi. Ya ipi. Ti to kan ya ipi. You and 2 or more people went to visit. Ti to kan. Ti to kan ya ipi. Ti to kan ya ipi. Tito kan ya ipi. Tito kan ya ipi. Here's that special word. It usually goes to but here's another word, another situation where it's going to be unki again. Tito kan unki. So it's just two people. I'll be telling this to Randall. Titokan unki. You and I will go visit. Or it's not we shall, but we visited. The shall is the kte. I'll just put a reminder there in the bottom. Kte is the word for shall. You could put shall at the end of all of these. Kte. You could put shall if you're going to tell somebody you're going to do something. Titokan wa ikte. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're a statement. Yeah. Not shall happen, but it's happened. Or it's happening. Titokan. Oh, just as a yeah, you left earlier. Just because this word right here, some of us are going to want to try and say gun, titokan. To fix that, put the word wakan here to remind you that this word here is kan, not gun. Tito, kan. Yeah. That's to remind you. So just to put a word that we all know, wakan, on here, and then underline it like that, just to remind you that this how it sounds here is going to be how it sounds there. Titokan. And you notice I'm not doing the TDs here. It's not a D. A lot of times if it's going to be like Dayan, right? It's not like Dayan. It's not that kind of TD. It's just the actual T sound. Tito kan. Kan unki bi. That'll be another one. Unki bi. I'll write it all. Tito kan unki bi. Unki bi. So that's Randall and I, plus a few more souls, 2 or 1 or 3. B. Tito kan unki bi. Tito kan unki bi. We actually did these words too. Wa'i, I went. Ya'i, you went. We did those too, but just add these, went to visit. All right. So, visit, I went. Visit, you went. Visit, you and everyone else went. Visit, you and I went. Visit, you and I and everybody went. Titoka ipi. Visit, they went. Titoka wa'i. Titoka ya'i. Titoka ya'ipi. Titoka unki. Titoka unkipi. Titoka ipi. Oh my goodness. La, 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 la. Even if you say an English word over and over and over, it starts to sound funny after a while. All right. So very, very important word, visiting. I guess you could even say sometimes if you're texting somebody, I'm visiting, right, in a situation. Yeah, it's an uh, I don't know. It's a different kind of visiting what we're doing now, but it's. I think it's important that we're visiting mind, body, spirit, heart. I think that's more more meaningful. You know, I think the texting is kind of taking away a little bit of meaning out of things. I think it's so important to see and hear and feel all that together. Yeah, I guess you could say that. Texting is not really visiting, it's just talking. Yeah. To be dependable. This one was a real important word, and the reason why I thought this word was important because I heard a song Oyate ki wachinia pikte wachinia, and then it was a peyote Oyate ki wachinia pikte lo. He said on that song, and he's talking to a little baby, and he says the people are going to depend on you. Oyate ki wachinia pikte wachinia pikte. The people are going to depend on you. And I think most of the children might have heard that a long time ago when you're born, that we need you. You know, each one of you are medicine in a way, you know, so we need your help. We desire your expertise, your help. We depend on you. Nighttime, I just cough. I got a cold. As soon as that sun goes down. This word right here, wachin, is to desire, wachin, like I need, in a sense too. This word here, you could take this word down here, chin, is the word for desire, to need something. So just so you can understand the whole meaning of this word here, chin, like takuya chin, what do you want? Takuya chin, what do you want? Like that. So you could take this word and investigate it a little deeper and break it down. Chin, chin, wa chin. Depend on me. I didn't have the mic up to my mouth. Wachimaya, maye. Would we do maya or maye? Maye. Both. Maya would be past. Wachimaya. They depended on me back then, you know. Hekta hana hena wachimaya. Maya. Yeah. Hekta hana wachimaya. Long ago they depended on me. Yeah. Okay. So when would you use wachimaya? Yeah. Right now is young? Yeah. Mm. Okay, yeah. Yeah. So this one, wachimaye, would be past tense. So we could do both if that'll make me, when I get confused, I put more information down for myself. Wachima ya is wachimaye. So we're just going to do the differences here just so that people don't get confused. Wachimaye would be past in this situation. Okay. And then present here. Okay, wachimaya, present. So right now, they depend on me. Wana wachimaya. They depend on me right now. And so ehana wachimaya. They depended on me in the past. Like that? Okay. All right. Got it. We got it. Wachinia. This is our ma is for me. Ni is for you. We'll just do the present ones now. But we'll have this one up here just to give you an idea of the past one here. Wachinia. So I could say, we can put a name right here, right? Randall Wachinia. Randall depends on you. Randall Wachinia. You could say Randall Wachinia. So in this, we'll put Randall's name here. Wachinia. Randall Wachinia. So Randall depends on you. So do it in English. Randall depends on you. Now I'll do it in Dakota. Randall Wachinia. Wachinia. This is very important for sports, to say that. Like we're depending on you, like coach is depending on you. Coach Wachinia, or whatever. Who is depending on you? Or you're lecturing your defensive, your defense, and you're telling them that the goalie, who is Randall Wachinia, Randall's depending on you. I always say you have to put it in some kind of a living situation, right? Or you could be saying that somebody could be telling this to their little sister, like saying that to little sister, and your brother depends on you, to help, kind of like that. Your brother, Wachinia, your brother needs you, depends on you, like that. Yeah. Wachinia. Very important word for relation, family. Wachinia. To be dependable is so important too, by the way. I think they used to give people this kind of a name too, as a Dakota name, the dependable one, right? Like that. I used to hear of somebody was called this. So the dependable one. So it was very important to be dependable, reliable. I'm sure now some of you can think of, if you can think of a relative, if you need to call them right now, who's that person? If you can call them and they're going to I'll be right there. That person, they're dependable. They're wachia. Wachia. Wachinia. Okay, wachimaye. Wachimaya. Wachinia. Wachiniapi. So now, in a situation like this, in a hockey situation, you're talking to two defensemen now. In this one, you were just talking to the one defenseman. Now you're talking to the two defensemen here, Randall and somebody, Wachiniapi. The goalie is depending on you, 2 or 3, or maybe even the whole team. But we just know here this B part means 2 or more people. Wachiniapi. Wachiniapi. Wachin. A lot of nasals in this one. Wachiniapi. Here's a nasal, and here's a nasal sound right there. Wachiniapi. That word we that word kte can come in handy here again. Wachiniapi kte. They shall depend on you. Wachiniapi kte. They're going to depend on you. Here's the I have the part. I never heard it said like this before myself, but I'm going to trust that that's just how it goes. This is the mother word of all nasal words right here. Almost every sound right through. Wa, chi, ya. Ste. Wa, chi, ya. Wa, chi, ya. That's a good word to practice your nasals on. Because there's chi and ya. Wa, chi, ya. Wa, chi, ya. Wa, chi, ya. Gee, that sounds nice. Wa, chi, ya. And so in this situation, I'm telling Randall that there's people that depend on us. Yeah, we depend. We. We. Not the French we, but Wachin. Yeah. You and I depend. We depend on them. I don't know. Hopefully we'll never ever say government. Wachin. Yeah. That's the one thing we never ever want to say. Let's make a government. We'll put government. We'll fix that one in a hurry. Yeah. So we do not depend on the government. You and us. I was telling you that. That's the kind of sentences I like to hear right there. They say self-government starts with the individual. And then it goes to your tiwahe, or self-government, then your tioshpae, self-government, then your oyate, self-government. Learn how to govern yourself. Now you can govern your family. And if you can govern your family, you can govern your tioshpae. If you can govern your tioshpae, now you can govern your whole nation. But it all comes with, you gotta know how to depend on yourself too. How would you say I depend on myself? I'm just gonna put that up here. Wachimichi. That's an explosive seed right there. I guess you could say independent in a sense, you know. I depend on myself. Nobody else. Only myself. Just me. Wachimichi. That's a lot of times if you're pouting, you might say that. I depend on myself. I don't depend on you. Yeah, we'll just put that on the side over. I depend on myself. Wachin unyampi. Wachin unyampi. Wachin unyampi. You and I, plus Unka Ozzy, depend on so and so, the government. The government. Sad to say that, but that's true right now. We're trying to not have that. Watching uyampi. So this is the part for you and I here. Now we added 2 or 3 or 1 billion people. Watching uyampi. Wa. If you need help breaking it down, wa chin yang bi. 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 That's a nice one. Wa chin. Oh, messed up. Wa chin yapi. Would it be wa chin yapi or yapi again? Wa chin yapi. Oh yeah. Yapi. Wa chin yapi. So they are dependable. Or they or so and so depend on him. Yeah. It could mean that too, right? Like they are dependable and also they depend on him. It could mean those two, right? Yeah. Put a star on here. So that would be almost like a homonym in a sense, you know? Like it could be used like almost I could be telling Randall here, Hena wachiampi, they're dependable. But then I could also say wachiampi, they depend, all of them depend on you. Wachiampi. Certain words, I guess a word like this, if we can give it the name of like a context word, I think if we can give it a title, context word means it can change with contexts, you know? I don't know if there's a Washichu word for context words, like a special kind of name for it, but maybe we can call it that, context words, where in certain circumstances it might change the meaning of it based upon what's in front here or what's behind here. Yeah. What the subject is, yeah. Yeah. Wachiampi. Wachiampi. Wa chin yang bi. Bi. Wachiampi. Wachiampi. So you can say it slow. Wa chin yang bi. And then go fast. Wachiampi. Wachiampi. Wa chin yang bi. Right. Another class tomorrow night again. I know Randall is working on getting the pictures going to the nouns, and Randall works pretty hard for all of this to happen. He goes and gets our food, you know, and he makes sure that everybody's on board with everything, up to date. Real good person for the job, in my opinion. And so, yeah. Oh, yeah. God. Oh. Huh. Yeah, you're going to head out. Okay. Yeah. 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 I think, some of us are even kind of. Yeah. Oh, huh. Good night. Good night. Daya ishtima. Gare, gara, gare, or ga. Gare, gara. To make, gara. Wakare, gara. To make, gara, gara. Sorry, this is a terrible G. G. Gare, gare. Yeah. Make and made. Gare, gara. Wakare. Odoa, waji, wakare. I'll make a song. Real easy. Wa, gare. Wakare. 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 I make. Hey wakare. I'm going to make that. Hey wakare. Do. Hey wakare. Wakare. Wa, ga. This one, this ga here is that KG. KG here. Gare. Ga, ga, ga. So it's not ka, it's ga. Wakare. 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 Real simple. Now we got the I and you. Yakare. You make. Yakare. Taku yakare. Heh. What are you making? Yakare. 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 So that's just one person there. You're making yakare. Ya. Ga. Ra. This switch from e to a, and here in this situation, pi. Yakara pi. So you, and Unkazi, and a bunch of you guys are making something. So I could even put this in a sentence. Taku. Yakara pi. What are you and everyone making? Yakara. Yakara pi. Yakara pi. Yakarapi. Yakarapi. You can say, oh, taku washte yakarapi. You're making something good. Taku washte yakarapi. So you could go up to these guys building these houses, and you can say, tipi wan ji, tipi wan yakarapi. You're making a house, all you and everyone else. This is the only time I think in this situation is you're mainly talking to one person, right? But you're including everybody else. That's why that talks about that. I'm mainly talking to one guy here. It's the that's the you. And then I'm adding everyone else that's included with you. Yeah. Yakarapi. 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 Un carre. Un carre. So just you and I. Un carre. 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 There's a way a long time ago when somebody's causing trouble, they would say something like along those lines, wouldn't they? Like, you're making trouble or you're making war, or is there a way they used to say it like that? Ehana. Hmm. How would they say that long ago? I wonder if somebody's trying to start a war with somebody. Like, remember those little boys that took those eggs there, for example? During 1862, they made war happen. Yeah. What would be the word to say that, I wonder? All those terminologies, that's how I learned. How would they say that? Woshichakakapi. Yeah, you made bad happen. Yeah. Yeah. Woshichakakapi. You're making something bad happen. Unkaje. So now we're going to add, so it's just Randall and I, we're making something. Unka, this switches from re to ra. Unkajapi. Unkajapi. Like, for example, can they say, like, when there's prayer, like we're making prayer, wocheki unkaja. Yeah, wocheki unkajapi. We're making a prayer. I heard that in there. That's what I was wondering. Wocheki unkajapi. We are making a prayer. Wocheki unkajapi. 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 And then now, I'm just telling you, they're Chanku Wankagapi over there. They're making a road over there. So there's two of them or three or more. Kagapi. By the way, I was tired to come here today. Man, sometimes you just gotta feel like you're just dragging yourself. But that's no matter what, you just keep doing that. And even though you don't want to. Half the time you're not gonna want to learn the language. I don't want to go over there, but we try to do it anyway. We just, no matter what, even if I don't feel like it, I'm gonna do it anyway. Because they call that 4 a.m. courage. You're laying there on your phone, all of a sudden 4 o'clock in the morning. You know what? I'm gonna start a business, and you're just all gung ho for it. You're ready to go, and you're just ready to gaga make a business. You're ready to make it, and then you're just pumped up, ready to go, and then all of a sudden, next day, no motivation. That's why they call it 4 a.m. courage. You have all the, I'm going to lose weight. You're sitting there, chips all over, watching TV, like that. And then but later on, next day, the courage is not there. That's why they call it 4 a.m. courage. Make sure that you follow through with that courage, right? Like, no matter what, I'm going to be here. That's one of the things I told Randall. I said, no matter what, I'm going to be at the language classes. Rain or snow or what. That's why we're rushing back here today to get home so that this class can go on. Don't want to disappoint anybody. Keep it going. And so you could say, Wo Dakota Kagapi. We're making Dakota spirit. Well, that's what they're doing. And so all of you at the language classes, the other ones here, when the language classes, you go to them, you could say, Wo Dakota, Kagapi. They're making the Dakota spirit, like the Dakota way of life, happen. Okay. So what do you think? Should we kind of, take a little break or shut her down for the evening, and then and full on tomorrow we'll go full force at it. But I just want to encourage everybody to go back and watch the videos and even just play them and don't even pay attention to it. You play it in the house at YouTube like that, these videos that we do, and just let them play in the background, and you could just continue on doing what you're doing and visiting, and as long as we're hearing it every day, And then good things to look forward to. There's a new song that Unka, Ozzy, and I are relearning from our past, and we're going to be sharing that songs up here as well. And also to work on the nouns as well. That's the next thing that we're going to be doing is the nouns. So there's still a lot more coming, good things coming. It's not going to be just the same agenda type thing. But however, this is really important. You know, how many people know the word kage, but how do you say I'm doing it, or you're doing it, or they're doing it? You know, how do you do that? And most people, we didn't know all these things until now. So, he haya pikte. Oh, washiro mitakipi. Tayo estima po.